Hello everyone, my name is Aastha. I welcome you all to our classes for International English Olympiad for class 9th. This is our 11th class wherein we will be doing the topic of verbs. It's going to be pretty easy, one of the easier topics in here. However, for verbs what you have to do is remember to revise the concept of tenses first. Alright, so let's get started.
The first question that comes to our mind is, what exactly are verbs? Now, verb is a word that represents an action, an occurrence, or conveys a state of being. So, verb, very simple definition that verb is a word which represents any of these three things, like any action taking place, any occurrence that is happening, or it conveys about some state of being something or someone. Now all this will be clearer to you once we start doing the examples. So till then you have to remember and understand that verb is nothing but a word that represents either an action or any occurrence or any state of being. Alright, let's move on. Now the first thing represented by the verb is action, right? So let's see some action verbs like eat. Now eat is a verb, run is an action, it's a verb, swim is an action, that's also a verb, study, that's also an action, that's also a verb, sit is also an action, it's a verb. Alright, so all these words are the ones that show some kind of action taking place, right? So the words that represent action are known as verbs. Now let's move on. Here we have occurrence. Now happen, become. Happen means something that takes place, which means something that occurs. Right? So happen is a word that shows some kind of occurrence. And become as well. Become is used for a person, or when someone turns into somebody, being recognized for something. So become is another word that is used to show occurrence. So both of these are examples of words that show occurrence and hence are called what? They are called verbs. Easy, right? Now, another one is the state of being. The words that represent a state of being, like am, is. So these kind of words which show some kind of state of being. For I am, for example, if I say I am a girl, so I am expressing me being a girl. I am expressing that I am a girl. So my state of being is what? My state of being is a girl. Now these are a few examples for verbs. For example, you study English. Now study shows some action being done. This is a verb. Next, Aman plays with toys. So which is the word telling us some action? Plays. This is also a verb. Similarly, in the third sentence, Aisha reads the book. So reads tells us an action taking place. It is also a verb. Next, he sits on the ground. Sits. This is a verb which shows some kind of action taking place. So here we have a few action words which are the verbs. These either show some kind of action or some kind of occurrence or some state of being, like be, have, do, say, get, make, go, know, take, see. Others could be come, think, look, want, use, find, tell, ask, work. So these action words which tell us some kind of occurrence or state of being or some action taking place, all of these are called as verbs. Okay, I missed the one here, which was give. All right. Okay, so here is another category of verbs which are auxiliary verbs. These are basically helping verbs. We call them as helping verbs as well. Helping verbs. And by helping, I think you can guess what do they do? They help the other verb. It is a subclass of verb that prototypically marks any tense, aspect, mood or voice. Now how? We will see these in the questions. जब हम auxiliary verbs की questions करेंगे तब you will see how it is helping the other verbs and how does it help it? Basically by marking any tense or aspect or mood or voice. Examples we will see. So you just have to know that the verbs which help other verbs are auxiliary verbs. Alright, let's see a few examples. Okay, here. Do, does, did, has, have, had, is, am, are, was, were, be, being, been, may, must, might, should, could, would, shall, will, can. Now let me give you a few examples. For example, if I say, I will go to the market, right? What is it doing? This will, what is it doing? It is helping which verb? Go. I will go to the market. So will is the helping verb here and the main verb is go. Basically मैं बता रही हूँ कि मैं जाऊँगी, the main verb is go, but will, what is it telling us? It is telling us the tense. So how is it helping? By changing the tense into future. So that's what the job of an auxiliary verb is. They're pretty easy to understand. Right. Now let's move on to the next segment. Alright, so now we have another important category of verbs that you need to understand, which is transitive and intransitive verbs. So we will be learning about these in detail. What are transitive verbs? What are intransitive verbs? Then understanding their differences or maybe some similarities that they have. Let's see. Alright, so first of all, let's do transitive verbs. Now, what are transitive verbs? These are the verbs that require an object to complete the meaning. Now, we know we have a subject, we have a verb, and we have an object. Now, these are the verbs that compulsorily require an object to complete their meaning, which means these transitive verbs cannot be completed without an object, and उनका कोई meaning नहीं रह जाता है if there is no object. All right. Okay, let's try to understand this through example. You just have to remember one small thing, that transitive verbs, they require what? Require an object. Okay. Alright, like here. My mother sent me a letter. Here, what is the verb? Sent. And what is the object? It's mere letter. Now here you see the verb is sent, to send. My mother sent me what? Now there is this question that you have to answer here. My mother sent me what? Sent me a letter. If we just say my mother sent me, you know, there has to be something that your mother sends you. So that object, this object is required to complete the meaning of the verb, right? That's why this verb send is an intransitive verb. Alright, let's see further. I borrowed a pen from my friend. Borrowed. Borrowed is the verb here. Now if I just say I borrowed, that is incomplete because there has to be something that I borrow to understand the meaning of the sentence completely. So I borrowed a pen from my friend. So I require an object to complete the meaning of this sentence. So that's why this again, borrowed is a transitive verb. Another example, she passed me a smile. Now she passed. Passed is what, a verb? Then we have this object here. Now passed, again the verb, it requires an object to complete the meaning. If I just say she passed, you don't know what did she pass, right? There has to be the answer to what. What did your mother send? What did you borrow? What did she pass? Alright, there have to be answer. There has to be an answer to these questions. Okay, she passed you what? Passed me a smile. So right, you require an object to complete the meaning of this verb. So this verb is again a transitive verb. Alright, so there is this simple simple tip and trick that you can remember to understand transitive verbs, that whenever you need to answer the question of what did the verb do, like what did the mother send, what did this person borrow, what did she pass. Okay, whenever you need an answer of what to complete the sentence, then that verb is a transitive verb. Alright, that's for the transitive verb. Alright, now we have intransitive verbs, which is pretty easy. They are the opposite of transitive verbs and they do not require an object to complete their meaning. Alright, they are self-sufficient in nature. Self-sufficient in nature means they are complete within themselves and they don't require an object. Alright, let's see how. Okay, so here, let's see. The fruits fell from the basket. Now the verb is fall. Okay, to fall. Now here I've given you a hint. You can't fall something, right? Here is there's this preposition used, fell from the basket. This is not an object. Okay. Now you cannot fall something. That's why this verb doesn't require an object. So it is an intransitive verb. Then my aunt arrived this morning. Arrived again. You cannot arrive something, right? We cannot here we cannot ask the question of what. My aunt arrived what? That can't be a question, right? So here arrived again intransitive verb. Then my brother gets up late every morning. So here the verb is gets up. And my brother, let's see. The brother can't get up something, right? Can we ask the question of what? My brother got up what? No, we can't answer the question. We can't ask the question of what, and neither can we answer that question. So all these verbs, what are these? These are intransitive verbs because they do not require any object to complete their meaning. Okay, I hope you have understood the basic difference between transitive and intransitive verbs. So transitive verbs are the ones which require an object to complete their meaning, whereas intransitive verbs are the ones which do not require an object to complete their meaning. Alright. Okay, so here we will be doing a very interesting category of verbs that are transitive and intransitive both. As in how we will see these examples, we'll figure out what I'm trying to say. Okay, so here, the first example, let's read the first sentence. It says, close the door. Close the door. Now here, can we ask the question of what? Close what? Close the door. So here, the verb close requires the object, the door, to complete its meaning. Right? So, close here is a transitive verb. But let's see the next sentence. The market closes at 5 p.m. Here the market closes. The verb is to close only. But does this verb here in this sentence require an object to complete its meaning? The market closes. Can we ask the question of what? The market closes what? No, we cannot ask the question of what. So here this is an intransitive verb because it does not require the object to complete its meaning. Alright. Let's see another example. Write your paper. Write your paper. Write what? Write your paper. So here the verb write requires the object, your paper, to complete its meaning. It's a transitive verb here. Then in the next sentence, my grandma can't write. Here, write again. But this does not require any object to complete its meaning. So, intransitive verb. Okay. So the next sentence, let's see. Third here, stop the bus. Stop what? Stop the bus. Again here the verb requires the object, the bus, to complete its meaning. So here it is a transitive verb. Then the clock stopped working. The clock stopped what? Here we cannot answer the question of what, right? There is no what to be asked. So stopped here, the verb stop is an intransitive verb. Then another example. He has done his homework. He has done what? He has done his homework. So the verb requires the object, his homework, to complete its meaning. Right. Next sentence. She is not doing well. Here the verb do does not require any object. So it is an intransitive verb. I hope you're getting the hang of it. Right here, my mother runs a shop. My mother runs what? Runs a shop. So this is a transitive verb. Then the road ran over the valley. The road ran what? We can't ask the question of what here in this sentence. So here, run, the verb run does not require any object to complete its meaning. So there again it is an intransitive verb. So basically, in summary, what are transitive and intransitive verbs? Transitive verbs are those which require an object to complete their meaning, where we can ask the question of what and it is answered in the question by the object. But the intransitive verbs are the ones where the object is not required to complete the meaning of the verb. Alright. So that's for the transitive and intransitive verbs. Okay, so here we have another small category, pretty easy to understand but important to understand as well. Modal auxiliaries, which are known as modals. Now what do they do? These are another category of helping verbs and they do not change for different subjects. Like here when we did our other helping verbs, like those auxiliary verbs, they change as per subjects. Like when we have to be. Now to be can be said to can be called an auxiliary verb. So it changes accordingly with subject. Like with I we use am, with he we use is, like that. But here these modals, they don't change for different subjects and they are another category of helping verbs. What are their jobs and what do they help us do? What do they help us hint? Let's see that. Okay, like here we have can and could. So what are they used for? They're used for seeking certain, telling about certain ability, like I can do this, he can do that. And permission, they also use for permission, but it's not preferred in using for permission. Like when I say, can I come in? It is used in very, what I can say, very backward formal cultures, but not really in the current informal and comfortable sense, because can actually refers to your ability. So when you ask someone that, can I come in? It actually means that you're asking if you are able to come in. Now you have perfectly, a perfectly fine working body, and you can, of course, you have the ability to come in, but when you have to ask for permission, here you use may or might, like, may I come in? Alright. Then we have a possibility, can or could. This could be the this could be the groundbreaking research that changes the country. So possibility. Here also expression of possibility, may and might. Okay. Okay, so we have will and would. When do we use these? When we are talking about certain willingness to do something, would you like a cup of tea? When we're talking about our intention, I would never speak, I would never tell a lie to you. It's my intention. Or like a prediction, I think India would win the World Cup this year. So kind of a prediction we use will or would. Or maybe certain characterization. Okay. Here we have should, ought to, must. So when do we use these? Like when we have to give certain advice that you should wear the red dress, or maybe some sort of a deduction we're providing. And we have must, used for a certain obligation. Remember, for obligations you always use must. For certain prohibition you use must. For certainty you use must. Okay, we will see as and when they come in the questions, and then you will be clearer about their uses. These are just broad usages of these modals. You just need to have a brief idea that what modals really are. Okay, they help out. They help the main verb, and also they do not change with the subject. Okay. Alright, so we have a few more modals, like no, there will be a few more like need not, used to, etc., which we will see in the questions as and when they come, and I will explain their meanings to you. Okay, now I cannot possibly include all of them. Most of them you must be aware of. Most of them, this modals is one thing that you would have been using them in your regular conversations. You just won't have realized that these are modals. So once that realization comes that this is where it fits in, it comes naturally to you. And once you look at the questions, you will see that this is not a difficult topic. Understanding the modals and figuring out which one to use where comes a little bit naturally when you have a good hold over the language. All right. Okay, so here we have these two verb complements which are necessary to be learned. Here, gerund and infinitives. Now, what are gerunds? Gerund is the verb plus ing form, and they generally use as a noun. Generally used as a noun, remember this. And what do they do? They name an activity rather than any person or a thing. Now, as we know, nouns are what? Name, they talk about any person, thing, place, animal. But here, when we use gerunds, they usually name an activity and not really a person or a thing. All right. Okay, here we have how gerunds can be used with examples. They can be used either at the beginning of a sentence. Like here you see, dancing is my favorite hobby. So they talk about dancing. Now dancing is again an activity, and here it is a noun. Alright, first, so what do gerunds do? 2-3 things that we have to know. First, it is formed by the verb plus ing, dance plus ing, dancing is formed. Second of all, it is acting as a noun. Dancing is my favorite hobby. Then thirdly, here it is as a noun, it is naming what? An activity and not any person or thing. Alright. Then we have, it is also used as an object after verb. Like here we have, I don't like waiting for people. So waiting. Waiting is first of all formed with wait plus ing, the verb plus ing form. Secondly, it is being used as a noun, like waiting for people. And thirdly, this is an activity. Waiting for people is an activity which is being named by the gerund. Okay. Another way, as an object after a preposition. Like after a preposition, I look forward to meeting you the following year. Now meeting you. Meeting is formed with verb plus ing, meet plus ing, right? Secondly, it is acting as a noun. And thirdly, meeting you the following year. This is also an activity that is being described by the noun, naming an activity of meeting this whosoever person or whatever, right? So what do gerunds do? Formed with verb plus ing, one thing. Second thing is that they act as noun. And third thing, they don't really name a person or thing, rather name an activity. Alright, these are gerunds. Okay, so here we have infinitive. Now how an infinitive is formed is 2 plus the base form of the verb, which is the V1 form. Alright, the V1 form plus 2. 2 plus the V1 form. And they act as other parts of speech in a sentence. Let's see how. Alright, so let's see how the infinitives work. Now first of all, they could act as an object following the verb. Like how? My brother always forgets to keep his keys. Now here the verb is what? Forgets. And infinitive is what? To keep. It is formed with 2 plus the V1 form. To keep. Right. And it is acting like which part of speech? It is acting like the object. My brother always forgets to keep his keys. Next up, infinitive could be used as a subject at the beginning of a sentence. Like how? To travel around the world requires a lot of money. To travel. To travel is the verb to plus infinitive. This is the infinitive, and how it is acting? It is acting like the subject in the sentence, right? Another way could be as an adjective modifying a noun. How? My mother has a great ability to multitask. Here the infinitive is to multitask, formed with to plus verb, the base form, which is V1, multitask, and it is acting like an adjective modifying the noun of ability. Alright. Then it could also act as an adverb modifying a verb. Like here we have, she promised to work harder the next year. To work harder. Now to work is the infinitive form, to plus verb, V1, the base form, and it is acting like an adverb in this sentence. So for infinitives, what did we learn? It is formed with to plus the verb plus the V1 form, and then it acts like as different parts of speech in a sentence. Alright, this was gerunds and infinitives. Alright, so now we've done different categories for verbs. We have understood what verbs are, and we've also done gerunds and infinitives, and also we've learned about transitive and intransitive verbs, even the auxiliary verbs, the modals. So all of these we will, I request you to revise all of them. If you have not understood the concepts, just go back and revise all of them and then move on to the questions. Okay. Alright. So for the quiz, what we will be doing is, now every question you will be given 1 minute. 1 minute means 60 seconds. Why am I giving you 1 minute? Because you see, your question paper of IEO, it has about 50 questions, and so you can imagine that you get more or less a minute to answer the questions. Now this 1 minute is the maximum that you should be taking for answering the question. Now suppose there could be two, three categories of students. First category is, suppose you answer the question within that 1 minute. So I would request you to fast forward the video and skip right to the answer. You should not be wasting your time. Alright. Now the other students who are not able to answer the question in 1 minute, what you do, you don't skip to the answer. You pause the video and you write down your answer. Alright, it is very important to answer each and every question because there is no negative marking. Here you see, for every incorrect answer, no points, because there is no negative marking in IEO, so it is important that you attempt all the questions. Now for a question of which you are not sure about the answer, now even here and even in the exam, if you are not sure about the answer and you maybe think that B option might be correct or C option might be correct, so you should in that case play your luck and play your mind and make a guess and still give an answer, because it is a win-win situation. Either you will get the marks for that question or you will get a 0, right? But if you don't attempt that question at all, then you are anyway getting a 0 in that, right? So it is good to attempt those questions, and even if you don't know all the answers, try to understand and take a guess. Okay, so this is for every correct answer 10 points. This is just for your own little game where you can try to maintain a notepad. So here you write the name of the chapter and then the question, and then if it is correct you can give yourself 10 points. If it is not correct, you mark it here. So it is important to see these questions. The ones which you mark incorrect, it is important to go back to them later and then see where you did the mistake. Alright, this is just for your reference. For every correct answer you can give yourself 10 points. Alright, now let's start. Alright, so now we start off with the questions. Here it says, choose the correct form of the verb given in the options. So, let's see. The boys in the room dash revising for their test. Is revising, are revising, am revising, or was revising. Now, first of all, you see the subject. The boys in the room. The boys is what? Third person plural. Okay, and with third person plural, which one suits? B. The boys in the room are revising for their test. Is this used with singular? Then am is all used with first person singular. D, was. Now was is for the past tense. If we would have used what? The past tense here, then it would have been the boys in the room were revising for their test. Were wouldn't have been used in that sense also. The correct answer is B, are. Okay. Alright, here we have the singer along with the music director and other musicians dash going to Switzerland for shooting. Am going, is going, are going, were going. So here, the correct answer is B, is going. Now here you have to be very careful because see, here the subject is the singer. Alright, the subject is not this whole crew. The subject is just the singer. So the singer is going to Switzerland for shooting along with these people. Alright, so the verb here will be in agreement with the subject singer, and the singer is what? It is the third person singular. Alright, so is. Now are and were, they used for plural, and am is used for first person singular. Okay. Okay, here we have climbing 200 meters dash a tough job for anyone. Is a tough job, am a tough job, are a tough job, or does a tough job. So here you see climbing 200 meters. This is what? This is our gerund. Remember, verb plus ing form as an activity as a subject in the sentence it is acting like. And climbing 200 meters, the answer is A, is. Because it is the subject and in which form? Third person neutral. Okay, third person singular neutral acting like it. Okay. So climbing is a tough job for anyone. Alright. Okay, here we have a chartered plane along with its crew and passengers dash crashed while landing. Have crashed, has crashed, do crashed or does crashed. Pretty easy. The correct answer is B. Has crashed. We're talking about present perfect. And also here chartered plane. Okay, chartered plane is the subject. And this is what again? Third person singular. So with that we use has. Okay, not have or do or does. Right? Okay, next up, Aisha and Siddharth dash passed their test with flying colors. Has passed, have passed, is passed or are passed. So it's pretty easy. Passed their test. So with that we use have passed. Present perfect. Okay. And Aisha and Siddharth. This is third person plural. Alright. That's why we use have. Not has. And then is or are not also used because we're talking about present perfect. And here is the V3 form past. So with that we use have. Okay, now next up, The Three Mistakes of My Life dash written by Chetan Bhagat. Is written by, am written by, are written by or does written by. Pretty easy. The correct answer is written by. We're just talking about a general statement, a general truth. Okay, The Three Mistakes of My Life is written by Chetan Bhagat. Then we have am. Am is used with I. Then are and does. Both of them don't fit as well. Correct answer is. Three Mistakes of My Life. This is third person singular neutral. That's why is. Okay, now the next category of question says, fill in the blanks with the most appropriate modal verbs. Here we have to fill in modal verbs. Let's see. I dash afford to buy you such an expensive ring now. I can afford, I cannot afford, I could afford, or I could not afford. Okay, so first of all, focus on here, now. We're talking about right now. Alright, so we will not be using C or D. Could and could not, this is for the past tense, and here we will talk in the present tense, either can or cannot. Now here we say, I dash afford to buy you such an expensive ring. So talking about such an expensive ring. Since we are talking about how expensive this ring is, so the logical answer will be, I cannot afford to buy you such an expensive ring now. Alright. Okay, here we have, he realized that he dash catch the earlier flight to Delhi if he hurried a bit. He may catch the earlier flight, he must catch the earlier flight, or he might catch the earlier flight to Delhi if he hurried a bit, or D, none of these. Now here, pretty easy. First of all, this is the past tense, he realized. If he hurried, past tense we're talking about, so C, might. Okay. Then here must is used for a certain obligation, and here might we're talking about a certain possibility, so we use might. Okay, here this computer dash belonged to my grandfather before he gifted it to me. Okay, now here before he gifted it to me. So we are talking something about in the past tense. Alright, and the certain possession, certain belongingness, certain happening in the past, we usually use here, C used to. This computer used to belong to my grandfather before he gifted it to me. Okay, this is a certain thing that happened. Alright. Then need to talk about certain necessity, might, would, these modals could be used for a certain prediction or possibility. Okay. Okay, here we have fill in the blanks with the most appropriate transitive or intransitive verb. The next category of questions, transitive and intransitive verbs. Let's read. Avi dash a few pages of this book every day before he goes to sleep. Avi read a few pages, is reading a few pages, reads a few pages, or does read a few pages. Here the correct answer is what? Avi reads a few pages of the book every day before he goes to sleep. Where are we getting this hint from? Here. Before he goes to sleep. This is an action which happens every day, regularly. Okay, so he reads, simple present form. Alright. Okay, next up we have please dash still while your mother combs your hair. Please stand still or stand still or both A and B or none of these. Pretty easy. Please stand still. Okay, stand still. This is like an order that we're giving. Stands would be used if we are talking about a subject like, he stands or he stands, she stand. That's how, but here we're giving a certain order, so we use it without an S in simple present, the infinitive form. Please stand still while your mother combs your hair. Alright. Okay, here we have Anushka has dash beautiful scenery in her artwork. Has draw, has draws, has drawn. So here the correct answer is Anushka has drawn. And how do we get this hint? First of all, has. Has is used when we have to talk in the perfect sense. In the perfect tense, and for perfect tense we need the V3 form. V3 form is here drawn. Alright, draw is the infinitive form, the base form, draws is the simple present form. Alright, so Anushka has drawn a beautiful scenery in her artwork. Present perfect tense. Okay, next, I sang the prayers while my brother dashed the drums. My brother played the drums, playing the drums, or none of these. Pretty easy again. B, played the drums. Why played the drums? First of all, you see sang. This is what the past tense. And since we're talking in the past tense, so we will be using my brother played the drums. Alright. The play is the base form, playing is the verb plus ing form. Okay, next up says, the beat of the drums dash me ready for PT. Makes me ready, make me ready, making me ready, or none of these. Here pretty easy, the beat of the drums makes me ready. Okay, first of all, we're talking about an action that happens regularly all the time. Sort of a habit. Beat of the drums. Also, it is the third person neutral form. So, the beat of the drums makes me ready. Here, make is the base form. Then making is verb plus ing form. All right. Okay, here we have next category. This says fill in the blanks with the appropriate gerund or infinitive from the options given below. Let's see. Now remember, gerund usually acts like a noun in an activity. Is an activity, whereas an infinitive could act like other parts of speech as well. Let's see the questions now. Have you finished dash your house for Deepavali? Clean, cleaning, cleaned. Okay, pretty easy. The correct answer is B, cleaning your house. Why cleaning your house? Because here it's acting like a noun. Cleaning your house for Deepavali, and also it is an action. Okay. Action, we're talking about a certain activity. So have you finished cleaning your house for Deepavali? B, gerund. Okay, here we have the baby woke up from his sleep and started dash to cry, crying, cry or crying. Now here the correct answer is D, and started crying. Gerund. Why gerund? First of all, you see a verb plus ing, it is formed. Secondly, it is acting as a noun in the sentence and started crying. And third, it is naming an activity. Alright, so crying. Then here to cry is the infinitive form, cried is the past form, whereas cry is just the base form. Alright. Okay, here we have I'm trying dash the radio. I'm trying tune the radio, tuning the radio, to tune the radio, or none of these. Here the correct answer is C, to tune the radio. So here you see, first of all, tuning the radio, here this is not acting like a noun. It is acting like an object. Verb plus the object. Object is what? To tune the radio. I'm trying to tune the radio. So we will be using C, to tune, which is the infinitive form, formed with to plus the base form. Alright, other tune is the base form. Here B, tuning is the gerund, and D, none of these. Alright. Alright, here, I'm sorry I didn't mean dash your feelings. I didn't mean hurt, to hurt, hurting, or none of these. Okay, here the correct answer is B. I didn't mean to hurt your feelings. Alright. So again here verb plus object, verb didn't mean, and then object to hurt your feelings. This is not acting like an activity, it's acting like an object in the sentence. So that's why we use the infinitive form and not the gerund form. The others you see, hurt is the base form, hurting gerund. Alright. Okay. So yes, with this we finish off with our questions on verbs. Alright. So
that's all for our class on verbs. I hope you have understood whatever concepts we did. Make sure you revise them, rectify your mistakes, and analyze if this is your stronger point or your weaker point and work on it accordingly. Alright, I will see you the next time. Thank you for watching.